Are you in like a super committed relationship? Would this be like frowned upon?
No.
Okay.
I don't know, like
No, but you know sometimes you like...
every time I get picked up on the street, the guy ends up being super weird.
Part of building sexual tension is causing changes in the interaction temperature that I like to call. It's the extent to which your overall vibe communicates playfulness, passion, and or sexual intents towards the girl or towards life.
What up, Casanova? Today we're going to be doing another real life footage breakdown, also known as an infield breakdown, to use some old pickup jargon. Real world application is where it's at, and I find that this is one of the most effective and inspiring ways to see concepts and principles in action, aside from witnessing them in person, of course. Today I'll be breaking down some clips from an interaction that was filmed in Toronto 2019 on a moderately busy street during the day in the posh neighborhood of Yorkville. You will see me talking to a girl I had stopped on her way home from work, and the clips in question capture some middle portion of the interaction. Now, if you want full, uncut, real-life footage breakdowns as well as access to all my other coaching resource material, you can learn more about it in the description below. All right, strap in and enjoy. Oh, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that motherfucking notification bell so that you're notified when I put out new videos. Right now, my plan is to release every Thursday, but that can change and more days might be added. Anyway, stay in the loop. Now let's get into it. Are you in like a super committed relationship? Would this be like frowned upon?
No.
Okay.
Just like, I don't know, like
No, but you know sometimes you like...
every time I get picked up on the street, the guy ends up being super weird. So I'm just kind of like, I don't
Like
know.
adjusting to like the new... You're like, this is not normal?
I don't know. It's
Okay, why? You've been approached by a lot of...
not a lot, but like it's happened.
But when it does happen, it's usually someone weird?
One of them ended up stalking me. And anyway,
Like following you?
yeah. Anyway.
Okay, I'm not gonna stalk you. I'm not gonna stalk you. You live, like you say, you don't live in the area, right?
Yeah, I live in like High Park.
You're walking to High Park.
No, I'm gonna walk like probably halfway.
Okay. High Park's nice.
Yeah.
Ukrainian Polish area. Like by Roncesvalles?
Yeah.
That's chill. My buddy's parents used to own a jazz bar there
Okay.
at Gate 403. I don't know if you've been. It was a nice place. Sadly, they had to close it up and sell shop recently. But anyway. Okay, I have a proposition since you're obviously not in the mood to chat. Why don't we, since you're not in any form of committed relationship, why don't we grab a drink sometime? Then we can escalate from small talk to medium talk.
Sure.
You know what? Are you walking this way? I'll walk with you for a couple of minutes and I'll make a left.
Okay.
Is that cool? Just don't do anything crazy. Sorry, I forgot your name. Hairdresser.
So here, what I do is sometimes when you're like, the girl's there, but she feels kind of like ill at ease, one of the things that you can do as a check-in or, you know, as a statement of empathy is find out sooner than later, you know, are you in a relationship? Because they might get weird about, or they're seeing someone, they might get weird about talking. They might be into you or like intrigued, but then they kind of feel weird about it. And part of that could be because they're seeing someone. So talking about it helps, you know, release the guilt or the secrecy. It's good to just kind of bring it up. So I'm like, hey, are you in like a super committed relationship? Would this be frowned upon? And she's like, no, you know, it's just like, obviously it's the fact that she worked a shift, but it's also that she's had some bad experiences in the past. Okay. So she tells me about these bad previous experiences. So she's skeptical. She's cautious. And she's also feeling out of it. And, you know, I assure her I won't stalk her, or you can kind of jokingly say you will. And I think it'd be interesting to kind of, in that moment, I didn't, but you can, I think it'd be interesting to kind of in that moment ask her general opinion about cold approach, about this whole idea of meeting people on the street. Sometimes, and you can say, you know, I do this when the mood strikes me, and own it. You know, and I say that sometimes. Because I think sometimes when you talk about it logically, in this very kind of, you know, matter-of-fact manner, you can make the person feel a lot more at ease and make them realize that yeah, you may have had some bad experiences, but actually this is something normal and in fact smart. Like, most people are on their, you know, online dating accounts and they're just swiping. So why is that? Why is that different than just approaching a bunch of strangers, especially ones that, you know, you really catch your eye on your way to work or wherever, you know, as you're going about your day? Why is that any different? Right? It's not, because some girls are like, it almost seems like, well, you approached other girls, now you're approaching me. I'm just another, I don't know, number or whatever. But that's actually kind of what happens when you're online. In fact, it's exponentially more multiplied. Not to mention, you can't even connect over the vibe. You can't get to know the personality. So doing that in person, you're actually less likely to approach as many women. It's going to feel a lot more personal. You don't need to get into this whole over justification. I'm saying this could naturally come up over the course of the interaction. I'm just saying, talking about cold approach, sometimes I like to ask girls and see how they feel about it. And a lot of them are actually into it. But you sometimes catch them in a moment where they're not in the best headspace and they might have had some bad experiences. And so they might project that onto it. Okay. So it can be cool to do. Again, notice how I'm positioned. I'm like at a 90-degree angle relative to her. I want her to feel like she has a lot of space. She tells me what area she's in. I mentioned how my friend's parents used to have a bar there, so I'm trying to kind of connect with her over some stuff. So even if, you know, expect girls during the day, especially, this is more pronounced during the day, to not be as talkative. So expect that you have to bring more, do more of the talking to kind of ease her into it. Okay. So I'm just sharing some stuff. Now, I can tell she's not in a chatty mood. And honestly, like, I'm not in the, you know, the most social headspace either. So I'm like, you know what, let's not force this. Let's just propose a drink another time. And, you know, once I do that, I also say, you know what, why don't we at least like walk for a couple of minutes? I'm like, hey, are you walking this way? I'll walk with you for a couple of minutes. Usually I just say, I'll do this. I don't say, can I walk with you? That becomes more of a commitment. Okay, be careful not to do that. You can say, you know what, I'll walk with you for a couple of minutes, and like once we reach that street, I'm just gonna like go off and like grab my coffee or whatever. So you're not asking her to commit to anything big. It's just for like a couple of minutes, but this way you can build a little bit more rapport. So it's cool. And she could always like signal to you like, no, I'm good. At this point, I think she feels comfortable enough, to be honest. And then I say, oh, just don't do anything crazy. We walk off. And notice how I emphasize her. I'm trying to make light of it more, emphasize her profession. You know, Jenna, the hairdresser, you know, nice to meet you again. Here we are, just kind of walking, a couple of strangers. So you're again showing like, hey, I get it. This is kind of like weird, but hey, we're having fun. It's not that serious. It's all right. I'm not a fucking killer. I'm not that guy who stalked you last time.
Do you work at one of those fancy salons?
Yeah. In this area. But
A Vidal Sassoon.
no.
Do they have one in this area? Oh, okay. I figured because it's such a posh.
Yeah.
I watched a documentary on Vidal a couple of years ago. It was fucking fascinating.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Like from an entrepreneurial perspective, like what do I know about hairdressing? But from like the business standpoint, the guy just hustled. He was born in like a really poor part of London. And he also had some like, you know, different parts of London have these different accents,
Yep.
dialects, whatever.
Yep.
So you could tell this guy like came from like a bad part of London. So he started doing this apprenticeship. And at some point he was inquiring about how he could like move up into like the better areas. And the guy said, man, honestly, if you're thinking about that, you're gonna have to like take classes to improve your
your accent essentially to sound more posh, more presentable.
Right.
And this guy fucking like, he did it. He worked day and night. Anyway, I have respect for that kind of hustle. What is that?
Hey, what up? It's me again. Just having a cocktail here. But I wanted to quickly interrupt to, one, make sure you're paying attention, and two, to let you know that everything you're learning here is directly and indirectly related to building your dream dating life. And just overall, a life that is healthy, win-win, and on your terms. Now, when you're done the video, I recommend you take a few minutes to go to the link below where you can watch a very entertaining and informative video on what steps you need to take to begin your very own transformation. If you're up for it, that is. I guess you first need to ask yourself, and pardon my French here, but do you want to fuck lots of hot poon, or do you want to fuck lots of hunt? As well as find love, discover the meaning of life, and become a self-developed, self-respecting man. Okay, end of pep talk. Back to the video. Go check out the link below when you're done, or I will personally call your mother and have her force you.
Is that an anchor? With flowers. Is there significance behind it?
Yeah.
I know that's a cliche thing to
Yeah.
ask. Okay, we're not at that medium talk yet. It's a little private.
It's not a happy thing. So.
Okay, I feel you. Okay. We'll keep it light. Weather, documentaries. What's your background, by the way? You look like you could be like...
Canadian. I'm like as Canadian as they come.
Actually?
Yeah. Like 10th generation.
Oh, okay.
What about you?
I'm Russian Israeli. Yeah. For some reason I thought you might be like half Israeli or something Mediterranean.
You know what everyone asks for. Just mixed European. Pretty much.
So we don't speak any other languages? We have to work on that.
So I started walking with her, and my goal is to, walk for like 5 minutes, right? I told her I wasn't going to walk for long. Sometimes you can extend that by another 5 minutes. Sometimes you can just like keep walking if you feel like the girl's at ease, if it's conducive. In this case, I could tell she's not in the most social headspace. So I am actually going to walk for like, no more than 5 minutes and let her go and stick to what I said. A couple of things I want to point out. When I'm asking her about the salon that she works at in the area, this is, a posh area. There's a lot of nice salons. A very popular one is Vidal Sassoon. British guy who's got his own brand. So when I say that, I'm like, at Vidal Sassoon. So this is an example of me exaggerating, emphasizing, dramatizing, okay, adding color, emotion, panache to my interaction. Okay, this is something I really like to do. One, it shows that you can showcase, emotional range. It shows that you have different sides to you, which I always say is important to cultivate and showcase. It makes people not only engage with you more, but trust you more, actually. But it's also a way of building the sexual tension. Part of building sexual tension is causing changes in the interaction temperature that I like to call. Okay, it's the extent to which your overall vibe communicates playfulness, passion, and or sexual intent towards the girl or towards life, towards the universe. And really, they are the same thing. Really, they are one. Okay, not to get too philosophical and spiritual right now. And so sometimes you're showcasing this energy by pushing and pulling. But sometimes you're making what I call neutral statements that have nothing to do with the girl. I'm talking about the name of a salon. But you're injecting this energy, okay, and that contributes to the temperature of the interaction. It adds intent. It adds a sexual kind of dimension to it. Very important, and this is something I also do to push my own buttons, and I sprinkle this in. Remember, you want to sprinkle these things in. They should not become, you're not some kind of a performer or a dancing monkey. You're not there to just push her buttons. You do this sparingly. So we talk a little bit about, I mentioned that I had seen this Vidal Sassoon documentary, which is very fascinating, about his life and how he built his whole empire. So this is an example of me just sharing things that are interesting to me in the context. This is interesting to me, and I just share it in the context. If you want to think of something else, by all means, you don't even have to comment any more than you want to on the fact that she works at a hair salon. The idea is that if you talk about things that are interesting to you and take a genuine interest in people, you'll find that conversations can actually be very interesting versus forced and dull. I also mention the tattoo, okay? Kind of like making fun of cliche things here by asking that, but I also don't push it because she's obviously not comfortable with talking about the meaning of her tattoo. I ask her where she's from, and this is a very good and easy question to ask anyone. I always say that there are 4 to 6 go-to questions that you should have in your arsenal, especially during the day. And they are, what are you up to? Where are you from? What do you do? Are you dating someone? Okay, those are the key 4. And then if you want to add, what are your interests? What are your interests and passions? Or rather, what do you do for fun? What are your interests and passions outside of work? And also, where have you traveled to recently? / where are you going to travel next? Those last 2, they have to be calibrated a little bit more. You want to kind of bring it up in a bit more of an organic context. It doesn't feel like this question that you're checking off. But the other 4, where are you from? What are you up to right now, which is kind of logistics. Where are you from, your background? What do you do? And are you currently dating anyone? Those are a lot easier to just kind of bring up because they're very situational. And it's, very obvious questions to ask. The others, you can calibrate a little bit. Notice when I ask her if she speaks any other languages, she says no. I kind of act disappointed, and I put on this Russian accent, and I say, we have to work on that. Okay, so there's a little bit of self-amusement, okay, a little bit of a playful push, a tease. I'm giving her shit. I'm also putting myself in the authority frame, like, we're going to have to do something about that, okay? So this all adds to the sexual tension. All right, man, thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying this content and that it really helps you make some moves in the right direction. Sincerely, because everything I teach, I have lived and breathed and contemplated ad nauseum. Unlike a bunch of these cookie cutter life coach clowns out there that regurgitate some shit they read in a book and call themselves experts. With that in mind, if you want to go deeper, if you want to really know what it takes to become the kind of guy that can confidently attract and manage relationships with quality women on your terms and in a way that is healthy and honest, no scummy or gimmicky shit here. And if you generally want to live a life of truth, freedom, love, courage, and adventure, then as Tom Cruise famously said in Jerry Maguire, help me help you, and go click the link below. There's a very entertaining and informative video that will shed some light on how you can get started. Do it, or you will forever perish into the dark abyss. But seriously, go check it out. Let's kickstart this journey of personal development together and help you reinvent yourself into a sex god.